Good evening and welcome to the Monday, June 5th, 2023 school board meeting. Please stand for a moment of silence followed by the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we will adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Madam Chair, I move for adoption of the agenda.
We have a motion by Ms. Hagan, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Knight. All in favor? Becky, 5-0. We have no amendments to the agenda. Public comment?
We do have an amendment.
Yeah, there is an amendment.
Oh, we do have an amendment to the agenda.
We
I'm
took
sorry.
that off.
Oh, you took that off.
took
I'm
it off.
sorry. I'm sorry. I was
It
behind.
was on and we took it off.
I'm
You-
sorry.
Good.
It's still on,
Mr. Carroll, is you?
it's still on mine.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, it wasn't on mine. All right, comments from the public?
You need to refresh it.
No comments tonight? All right, consent agenda items. 4.1, the minutes. 4.2, MOU with Madison County Education Association for stipends. 4.3, MOU with MCEA for 12-month employee contract days. 4.4, PACE contract. 4.5, PACE PDC contract. We've pulled 4.6. 4.7, fundraisers. 4.8, interdistrict homeless transportation agreement with Jefferson County. 4.9, interdistrict private school services agreement with Jefferson County. 4.10, interdistrict foster transportation agreement with Jefferson County. 4.11, summer football schedule. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, we did not pull 4.6, that was, I'm not pulling that one.
Oh, you're not going to pull it?
No, I'm not pulling
Okay,
4.6.
I had pulled from our meeting the
Yes.
other day.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, that will still be on the agenda, 4.6.
So we're going to add 4.6.
4.6 is on the agenda.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Ms. Hagan, second. Second by Ms. Thompson. Any discussion or questions?
I just have a comment, and I don't have them all open right here. I just know that in reviewing the contracts, multiple of them had the incorrect names, like the chair and things like that. So I just want to make sure that we know that those are corrected.
Had old information on it.
Yes.
What do? We just copy and paste that stuff, what?
It has old information. A lot of
I
these
know.
things that they're sending out has old school board members'
Yes.
names
Old
on it
members and
and
old
not
chair.
new school board members. It's been time long enough for that to be changed now.
Yeah,
But,
well,
and that doesn't affect, y'all can still approve it. It's just when you go to sign it, the chair, the superintendent, when they sign it, would just strike that out with a ballpoint pen and put the right name. But yes, it certainly should have been fixed by now, but,
Any further discussion?
All this stuff with PACE, there's a bunch of stuff with PACE. Used to one PACE covered everything, now they got
It's,
5 or 6 different PACE.
let's let Mrs. Joseph explain that.
Yeah, let's do it.
PACE still, we are bound by legislature. PACE is our consortium that we are officially a member of. And PACE bill us individually for the different services they provide. That's what that is.
So,
And so it's a lot of services. Yes, it is a lot of services that we have with PACE.
It's not all lumped together anymore.
No, and the one is the membership fee,
right.
and the other is the
Professional
professional
development.
development.
Until they're doing them item by item, some of them.
Any further questions, discussion, concerns? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. All right, 5 items for individual consideration. 5.1, personnel changes, Mr. Killingsworth.
Okay, Mr. Killsworth is not here, and so we'll be
Okay.
doing that tonight. Our personnel changes for June 5th, we have the following recommendations for teachers for the 2023-2024 school year, and their start date is August 1st. We are recommending Madeline Gurley, Taylor Figueroa, Rebecca Prosick, and Nicole Irvin. We will recommend those for teaching positions. Okay, for non-instructional recommendation, we are recommending Keith Hughes. And the asterisk adjacent to their name says that we've been through the interview process, but they will be fully approved after we complete their background check and certification. And the following people are either resigning or taking a leave of absence or whatever. Okay, Ms. Boldenstein, she's resigning. Ms. Grissom, she's resigning. Neely, she's taking a leave of absence. And she's taking a leave of absence to do internship. And Elizabeth Davis, we had to correct her leave of absence dates because she had her baby before the original date she put in. And on the back of that, the next sheet, we still on there? Personnel changes. You have one person, Ms. Williams. She is being requesting to volunteer at Greenville Elementary School. And on the next page, you will see the recommendations for summer employment. Our part-time persons, rather than calling in subs during the summer, we are asking them to work full-time. And so with our custodial staff, we will not be calling in subs. These were 4-hour persons, so we're making them 8-hour people. And then for our summer school non-instructional employee recommendations, we recommend all these people for transportation. That does not mean all of them will be driving, but I think they're rotated through there so they will have equal opportunity for all. And we'll already have a substitute built in. Same things goes for my food services. Those are being recommended for food services and substitutes. And paraprofessionals, that's my list, is being recommended for paraprofessionals. And my summer school tutors, those are my students that's being paid out of the ESSER grant. That's my summer school tutors. And so those are your personnel recommendations for tonight. Any questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Joseph.
Do you have a question?
I do have a question. On 5.1, the personnel changes, there are 3 names down at the
Okay.
bottom.
What,
Can you
okay.
explain?
Yes. All of us are prone to mistakes or oversight or some things that we need to check. And so when that group of people were recommended, they were omitted. We've cleared up any questions we've had about it, and so we recommend them for the next school year.
Thank you, Mrs. Joseph. Do we have a motion to approve the personnel changes?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the personnel changes.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.7, volunteers.
Okay, I did the volunteer. I didn't
Yes, I
realize-
think you did.
Okay, I've explained all those. Do I need to go back over
No,
that? We
you don't have
had
to
one
go.
person for volunteer.
No, we knew that you covered that.
Okay.
We got summer hours.
It's 5.2.
Yeah, 5.7 is administrators.
Yeah, that's a 2.
I'm sorry, I kept going.
No, that's fine. You're fine. Do we have a motion to approve the volunteers?
I move to approve the volunteers.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hagan. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.3, summer hours. Did you went over the summer?
Yes, ma'am, I went over
Yeah,
those.
That's been clear.
My summer workers.
Okay,
Madam
summer
Chair, I
work.
move that we
All right,
approve
do we
the-
have a motion?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, I move that we approve the summer hours.
We have a motion by Ms. Hagan, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr.
It really don't matter, one of us.
We said it at the same
We'll
time.
we'll go with Mr. Carroll then. Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.4, motor fuel bid. Mr. Ginn?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. of the
Good
board.
evening.
Good evening.
I'm here to present the next three items on the agenda. The, asking for your approval. The first one would be the motor fuel bid. These bids were sent out and advertised for 2 weeks in 3 different things. I've got them listed there, our website, Facebook page, and the local paper. The fuel bid, we had 1 response. And it was with J&J Strong, so my recommendation is let's go back with J&J Strong.
Thank you, Mr. Ginn.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve the motor fuel bid?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the motor fuel bid.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second.
Okay.
Second by Ms. Hagan. Any discussion?
Tim, I mean, is that the only way we do bids, or, I mean, do you call and ask the
Well, I actually called another company here and they refused to bid. They didn't want to bid. So,
That's what, because, you know, I
yes,
just want,
you know,
Well, the cost of fuel is so unpredictable these days,
Yes,
you know,
so-
to commit to that is.
I'm short of begging people to
And
bid
we've been
for
doing
it.
this so long, so they already know.
They know.
They know.
Yeah.
They know.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.5, solid waste bid, Mr. Ginn?
All right, solid waste bid, it was also sent out, advertised for 2 weeks, in the same 3, places. I got 3 bids back. Madison County Solid Waste and Recycling was $21,924. Pop Sanitation Services, $64,139.88. And JR Waste Management Solutions is $73,080. So, my recommendation would be go back with the Madison County Solid Waste at the $21,924.
Thank you, Mr. Ginn. Do we have a motion to approve the solid waste bid?
I move to approve the solid waste bid.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll,
Second.
second by Ms. Hagan. Any discussion?
I just want, this is for the exact same,
Same, sir, I sent out the same
service
thing.
and everything?
Same.
What, I think there was, the way they bid on it is it's, every time they dump a dumpster, that's called a tip. And they price per tip. So I'm asking them for, I think it was 1,218 tips throughout the year is what they're bidding on.
And see,
And this is it.
solid waste doesn't have to go, that's our own. They don't have to go as far.
Yeah.
And to
Correct.
tilt to do whatever.
Correct.
We can do 2 times with them,
Yeah, yeah. You know,
according to the bid.
I was just,
Yeah.
it's the same service.
That's a good
I
question.
know.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.6, Madison County Central Painting bid. Mr. Ginn?
okay. This is, I sent out this one advertised for 2 weeks, the same 3 places. I got 1 bid back, Robinson Sun Painting. I wanted to go over this. This bid includes, there's 21 regular classrooms, there's 3 science labs, 27 bathrooms, 24 offices, and 12 bathroom hallways
At that price.
at this price.
It,
So, it's, I only received this 1 bid back, so.
And he does a good
Nobody
job.
wants to do it.
he does, but I'm saying that's so much work. I was looking at it, I'm saying that's so much work for that particular price. But that's his bid.
Two complete buildings out at Central.
So we better hurry up and jump on it, Madam Chair. I move for approval
Do
of that bid.
do we have a motion to approve the Madison County Central Painting bid?
I move for approval, Madam Chair.
We have a motion by Ms. Hagan, second.
second.
Second by Ms. Thompson. Any discussion?
I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know we're revamping a lot of these buildings, and I'd love to see it. It's gonna be a lot more uniform with the coloring and stuff, but is the bridge building scheduled for this as well? Because it's looking a little rough compared to
I've
the rest of
already
the
had
school.
hallways and a room painted out there this year, here last week before last.
Okay, but what about the exterior of the building? Because
The
like
exterior,
driving.
I'm working on that. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
because I mean, like, we're working so hard to change the perception of that
Yes.
program, and you drive out there and it just.
So that wasn't included in the bid and you're working on it?
No, ma'am, but I'm gonna work on that. Yes, ma'am.
Any,
Thank you.
any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Ginn.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
5.7, administrative recommendation. Mrs. Joseph?
Madam Chair, listed before you are my administrative recommendations for the 23-24 school year.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the administrative recommendations?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the administrative recommendations.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Thompson. Any discussion? All in
Hey,
favor?
hold.
Mr. Carroll?
This is not all of them, is it?
Well, my administrators is all of them. Wait, I do have vacancies, is that what you're
Oh, okay,
asking?
that's what-
I
Yeah.
haven't got that far yet. But of the one that's in the position, that's who I'm recommending
These are the ones that's currently working there?
as administrators.
I got you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.8, dual enrollment agreement with NFC. Ms. Joseph?
Okay, it's gonna be a halfway lengthy discussion. And if you notice, the first thing on there is the amendment to 22-23 school year. Okay, and the date is not wrong. What we're trying to do, this articulation agreement did not take us through the summer. And so the first paragraph says this amendment updates the summer dual enrollment. And so the date is right. But the signature page is wrong, and we will fix that. But basically, I want to halfway review this articulation agreement with you, a couple of things, because you've been hearing a lot about dual enrollment on the very bottom of that page. Dual enrollment, what we do is part-time dual enrollment. And the last very sentence says they may take up 11 credit hours per term. Okay, and that's important because I know I have people coming out here, I want to take this class, but the articulation agreement states that. That's what we've put forth, only 11 hours. Okay, on page 2, on the last sentence of that first paragraph, it says students will register for classes through their high school counselor. Okay, some of them tend to want to bypass us, and then we get them kicked out of classes, but we have a process in place, it's written down. And so they need to go through the high school counselor and not take it upon themselves to go to the college and register because we're paying for it, we need to be in charge of this.
Now, let me stop you. You mean they feel like they can bypass the high school and go to the college directly?
Moving right along.
Have they been
let's-
approved to go to do that?
I'm just explaining the situations, okay? I'm explaining the situations.
So yes, ma'am, Ms. Carol, the way that she's explaining
No.
it, it does happen.
But I'm thinking.
I can't discuss that specifically, but you need to
But
read
we can
between the
discuss
lines.
it.
Okay.
We're the
Okay.
board, we can discuss it.
We'll discuss it then.
Yes,
Well, no,
ma'am.
my
Go ahead.
question was, in other words, have they been approved to go to be
It's a
dual enrolled?
process in place, procedures.
And what
And
happens,
it's
it
been
says, okay, students will register for classes through the high school counselor,
Right.
and they may not register online or directly through the college
Well,
staff.
I agree with that, but I mean, I can't imagine them bypassing the high school and just doing it, taking it upon themselves to go to the
Well, if they're
college.
ready to do the college, let the college pay for it then.
Well, thank you for, I mean.
And we're not responsible for it.
I'm surprised that
We
that
have
was
our
put
own
that way.
procedures in place. And if they bypass it, that means that they don't want what we're offering. They want something different.
Well, maybe they'd like to pay for it.
That's what I'm saying. Let them pay for it.
Okay, well, thank you, Mrs. Joseph.
Okay, but I asked you to read this, and we'll go over it later on. Now, the second part of this is the MOU for the dual enrollment portal. It tells them how to use the portal and all that. And this one the first one does not have the correct signatures because they did an addendum to the contract that was signed earlier. But when we sign it, we will adjust the signatures. And the second has the correct dates, the dual enrollment portal, the MOU for that. But for North Florida, their date goes through July 31st, and that's why they needed to do an addendum to their original agreement, rather
Okay.
than June 30th.
Any more?
That's it.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the dual enrollment agreement with NFC?
Madam Chair, I move for approval of dual enrollment with NFCC.
Okay,
It's the
we,
addendum we're approving, because the agreement had already been.
okay, the addendum.
The
Well, I'm just
amendment.
reading it the
It's
way it is on the
amendment.
thing.
I'm looking
Okay,
to see
so
what it is.
do we have a motion to approve the
It's a dual
addendum?
enrollment agreement with North Florida,
Amendment to.
North Florida College.
Okay, do we have a
So
motion to
that's what I'm
approve?
approving.
Well, we have a motion by
I did.
Ms. Hagan. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? Now, I will say, I have contacted Mrs. Joseph and Mrs. Hill today, so I didn't expect an answer tonight. But I'd like to know how many students are dual enrolled. I'd like to know the success rate and the failure at passing. In other words, I'd just like to know some information on it. You know, but not for tonight. In other words, I know, we have to give you plenty of time to, so maybe at the next meeting. Thank you. All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. All right, 5.9, we did poll.
We did pull that one.
We did poll the
You also have the memorandum of understanding you have to approve.
Oh, we gotta do that too? Okay.
Yeah, they're two separate documents.
It wasn't, okay.
I think if I'm,
It's separate on mine.
yeah, it's two separate
Okay.
documents.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the memorandum of,
Memorandum.
MOU.
memorandum of
MOU.
understanding?
But where's that?
That's,
That's halfway
The
through.
second part on there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I move to approve the, MOU, for the NFCC.
Oh, we have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Knight. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. All right, we did poll 5.9. Now, 5.10, student field trips. Ms. Joseph?
Okay, we have several field trips before us, and the first field trip we have before us is the Beta Club. They're going to the Nationals in Louisville, Kentucky, June 16th through 20th, and I think you've been participating in a lot of fundraising they've been doing. Okay, our next one is the FFA Statewide Competition and Leadership Conference in Orlando, June 16th through 24th. That's with Ms. Jenkins. And the football team is going to University of Florida to some kind of camp on June 14th. The football team is going to some kind of camp at FSU on June 21st. And the FCA camp is July 17th through 19th. And the junior varsity and varsity cheerleaders will be going through their summer cheer camp in Valdosta, July 11th through 13th.
Thank you, Mrs. Joseph. Do we have a motion to approve the student field trips?
I move to approve the student field.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Thompson. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.11, staff travel requests. Ms. Joseph?
Okay, I think I've got most of them. Everybody's taken care of. The first one is a ProStart teacher training in Orlando. That's with Miss Mona Kelly and the culinary. That's June 13th through 16th. The Adult Ed Summer Symposium in Jensen Beach. That's Miss Barbara Davis. That will be paid out for out of the Adult Ed grant. And number 3, I just gave you a summary of all the different camps that trainings that we're going to, so we could see that at one place in case I missed it someplace else. Number 4 and number 5, those are some trainings that's related to the Title I programs. That's FACTE is in Orlando on July 17th through 19th, and ECTAC is in Cocoa Beach on August 15th through 17th.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph. Do we have a motion to approve the staff travel request?
I move to approve the staff trip.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Knight. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. Okay, we're pulling 5.12, 5.13, Bloom's communication contract.
Bloom's communication contract, that's a communication tool that is sort of, if I tell you about Dojo, you would be familiar with that. It's replacing Dojo, but Dojo is basically user-friendly elementary school. But we need one device or one instrument that we could use K-12, and that's what Bloom does. With Bloom, we compose announcements, alerts, record voice, two-way messages, calendars, volunteer sign-ups, conference scheduling, and health checks, robocalling, auto notices, PBIS with reporting assignments, portfolios, and they do language translations also. And the total, this is $35,626, but this is for 2 years. And we're going to be paying for this out of ESSER. But it's one device that we can use with all the students rather than your Dojo. Elementary teachers are very familiar with Dojo, but the high school, they refuse to use Dojo. But we want something that we can consistently use across all mediums.
When does Dojo expire? Is it? Are we finished
July
with it?
1.
Okay.
So
All right.
this is replacing Dojo?
Yes, it is.
All of the teachers, okay.
Yes.
Thank God for this.
Do we have a motion? Yes. Do we have a motion to approve Bloom's communication contract?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the contract with Bloom's.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion?
I do have a question. Is this gonna be like super user-friendly? Is there any type of training that the teachers are gonna have to go through to
It's
be able
going
to
to be
offer it?
super user-friendly, but we will do a couple of mini trainings during the summer and throughout the year as needed. But I think it's very intuitive on use.
Okay.
Okay, and so, and I have another question too, like, let's say that we find that this isn't, this isn't working, do we have an early termination option? Because I didn't see anything in the contract.
I didn't see one.
That's what I would like to know is,
Sure.
like, we spent in $35,000 and then we haven't beta tested this and then the teachers hate it, we just threw $35,000 away.
Right.
It's the same as they hated Dojo too.
Yeah.
So we just have to suffer the consequences
I
of it.
think that's the policy choice y'all need to make though,
Yes.
because you're paying for it out of ESSER,
Right.
right? So if you don't, if you want to use that money, you pay for 2 years,
And not only that, I don't think they have the option of liking or hating. I mean, in other words, if this is
We
provided.
have sort of tested it.
You have
Okay.
beta tested it
Yes, we have tested it.
at every grade level?
Not
like
at every grade level.
just elementary?
Not necessarily. Some administrators have tested and a few of the principals, and I can't
Okay.
tell you which one because I
No,
wasn't in
that's
charge of the project. But no,
they
we're
were in
not buying a
support of it?
pig in a poke. We have looked at it and we've done,
Yeah.
and we've shared it with all the principals at principals meeting.
Okay.
So this is not our first exposure to it.
Okay.
Do we know, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
do we know what it is in comparison to cost to Dojo?
I think we're doing apples and oranges because Dojo was very limited.
Yes.
And this is a lot more extensive. Can you answer that, any of that?
Well, Dojo itself is free, but it lacks a lot of the features that we're looking for.
Okay.
Archiving, centralized administration, there's a lot of stuff that Dojo doesn't do. There's also some concerns with the report of privacy laws in Dojo.
Okay.
This is also going to replace our mass notification system, One Call Now.
Okay.
So it's replacing a couple of other systems and adding where we're missing capabilities at the high school.
Okay. That makes
And
more
getting
sense.
all the district under one centralized platform.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph and Mr. Isaac, for that information. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to ask one thing. You said that the high school refused to use it?
Dojo is not high school, okay?
Okay, but you said they refused to use it. I was
They
just wondering
refuse
if-
to
I
use
mean,
something that, they don't even know how to use Dojo because it's not kids,
It's
it's
not
not,
geared to high school.
it's not high school material.
Well, but it's pretty user-friendly though.
I just had, I mean, you know, if we get
It's
this one,
more-
they say, oh,
it's
no,
more-
I'm just.
it's more elementary.
That's what I said earlier. In other words, just because I don't like it doesn't mean I don't teach it or use it if it's provided. In other words, if you're
I'd hate to
employed
spend
with us, you
$35,000 and they say, oh, man, we
Oh,
just
they're
don't
gonna
wanna
use
that.
this.
will. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.14, driver grant, Ms. Rainick. Good evening.
This is a grant that we were notified about in maybe October or November last year. It did, when we finally got the award, it did back it up to July, so it's good from July until June the 30th. And what we did was we got with the administration and leadership, and they said they wanted to focus on some of the children at Bridge, taking them from Bridge down to Taylor County, right? Taylor County to their technical center. So when this became available, there were several options we could use. It was just a lump sum of $50,000. So after discussing it with leadership, we decided that we were going to ask to use it to buy a 10 or 12 passenger van. And then that would be available after the grant runs out for the district to use for other purposes as well. The problem is that we're still collecting quotes. We've been searching, but it's been, hard to get anybody who has that kind of a vehicle right now. So we have a couple of quotes pending, but we want to make sure we get something that meets the need. And we're also going to have to go to the department because it closes on June the 30th. So if we don't buy it by June the 30th, do we get a no-cost extension, or can we go ahead and carry this idea through to the next year? So we're in the process of talking to them about that. But what we're asking you for tonight is your awareness, number one, your approval that we go ahead, and if we do get the quotes, that we can put those through and make the purchase if we have to be locked in to June 30th.
Because we've had these children going to the welding class in Perry.
Correct.
And all those technical classes in Perry. Once upon a time, we had students really participate.
Do we have a motion to approve the driver grant?
I move to approve the driver.
We have a
Second.
motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
Second,
Second by Ms. Hagan. Any discussion?
Just to be clear, that also includes the purchase of the vehicle.
It's the
Yes.
Not
purchase.
just, and up to $50,000.
Up to 50,000. So if it costs us 60 to buy the van, it'll only cost us 10, and 50 will come
Yes.
out of the
Okay.
All I know, that's one of the best things I've heard yet.
exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, very.
So just so everybody's clear, this is gonna transport them to CTE programs. Okay, all right.
It's going to be, I think, Ms. Joseph, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 3 days a week, maybe?
If we can get someone enrolled in the program, and because we do not want transportation to be a hindrance.
Okay. So we're going to take them down and bring them back and let them participate in the program down
And if you
there.
explain further, we can kind of repeat a little bit, right?
Well, my other question is, I know you said bridge students, is it limited to bridge students? I mean, what if we had a few at high school, a few that still don't have transportation?
Those were the students that were targeted when we wrote this project. It
Okay.
doesn't necessarily mean those are the only students that can participate.
Okay.
But when we wrote the narrative, those were the students we were targeting.
Okay.
So it'll benefit the
That would be
Career
our
Tech program.
priority.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Rainick. 6.1, superintendent items.
Okay, Madam Chair, I got several things to talk about today.
Yep.
Okay, the first thing was on all of your minds about the Madison County High School diploma fiasco. And I think I emailed you a message from Mr. Brooks. It says, this morning we contacted Herff Jones. They checked our proofs of the student's diploma and we sent them back in October. They found that they had sent a diploma with the wrong principal on them. Okay, and bottom line, they will correct them. In this email they sent, they said that the company would be emailing the students their diplomas, but now what I asked him to do, have the diplomas sent to us, and we will distribute the exchange to the student. And so stuff happens, Herb Jones paying for it, it was their mistake. Okay, but he is putting some things in place, so hopefully this doesn't happen again. But this is not the first time this happened, it's just how we deal with it. Question, comments?
He just mentioned the principal's name was wrong?
And chairman of the
The
board.
chair was wrong, too.
Okay, when I sent you this, it said that, I didn't read all of that,
Okay,
okay?
okay, I'm just, all right.
Finn and Alfred names, those are the names that were on that.
I
Okay.
understand why we're in defense mode about it.
Okay, the next thing is that at your table, you've got the Madison County School District PM3 FAST scores for grades 3 through 8 for reading and math. Do you want me to review them with you, or you just want some time to digest them and we can have a presentation next time?
I'd like to just, I can
Yes,
do,
ma'am.
I can do it by myself, unless someone else needs a review.
I like what you said.
You-
Presentation
review
next
that,
time?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
I
well,
about
will
the rest
absorb
of
it. I might have questions next time.
Right.
okay, one thing I want to give you, something that the state has made available to us is called a parent portal. And I'm going to show you, send you a little, pass that out. And so, actually, the parents have access to this information, and they've got the login. And this is just a sample of it, and we have shared this with all the parents, and we will be doing some more advertising. We'll be posting this link on the webpage so parents can get this information. And by now, all the schools have issued report cards as well as sent out a hard copy of the FAST reports. And so we've done all that. Next thing, the redistricting vote will be on next week's, next meeting agenda.
19,
On June 20th.
20.
June 20th. Okay, another reminder, a master board training is June 21st at the same place. Another reminder, next board meeting will be June 20th. That's what was approved at our November 22nd reorganization meeting.
Oh, yeah, because it's a holiday.
Oh, Monday's a holiday.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph. Mr. Reeves?
Nothing unless y'all have questions of me?
Does anyone have a question for Mr. Reeves?
I've got a question. For the redistricting, we just need to put that item on the agenda.
Just put it on the agenda. There will be I'll have a resolution prepared
Okay.
for the board to consider. And the resolution is going to have the description of the districts and all that. And we'll also have a map in there with it to show you which description matches which district and that kind of thing. And then if all that is, if you all wish to approve it, you approve it right then, and then that's it. You're done with it. And then we've got to send a certified copy to the Secretary of State. We've got to advertise it in the paper and all that stuff afterwards.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. I'm changing things up a little bit. I'm just going right on down the line here. The month of May was a very busy and happy time in our schools with awards day, graduations, and a lot of other activities. I'd like to congratulate all the graduates and wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. These events took much time and preparation involving many people. Thank you to all of them for their help in making it happen. I'd like to thank Farm Bureau for sponsoring Ag Day for all the fourth graders in the county. It was held at Madison County Central School. There was many exciting centers were available for the students to visit and learn. It was followed by a lunch and then a demonstration from the K-9 unit from the Madison County Sheriff's Office. I'd also like to thank the American Legion Post 224 in Cherry Lake for providing this fabulous display around the courthouse and around our park. Part of the proceeds from the will benefit our schools because whenever one of our schools needs a flag, the American Legion gladly provides it, and we thank them for that. As chair, I just want to touch on this. As chair, I meet with the superintendent a week before each board meeting. This is the way it's always done. We meet together on the Monday before the board meeting, a week before, at 7:30 in the morning, going over each item on the agenda. At that time, I ask questions, and many times during the week, I go back to Mrs. Joseph, just for clarification or want to know this or that. And I'd like to encourage any of you to, if you have any questions during the week, Mrs. Joseph is happy to answer the questions. During my extensive training with the Florida School Board Association, we were told no surprises at the meeting. In other words, we don't want to disrespect the superintendent or her position. So if you have any questions, ask away during the week. I'd like to wish all of our employees a wonderful, fun, restful summer. Thank you for all you've done this year for our students. We appreciate you. Thank you. Ms. Hagan?
I just would like to thank everybody who was involved in this present school term, and that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Carroll?
Well, I just wanted to say I made it to at least one of the programs at all the schools, and I really enjoyed them. And I think that all those folks put in a lot of hard work. The kids done a lot of hard work. It was really good seeing all the smiles, especially on those younger kids. Happy to go to school, which is what school is about, is kids being happy to go. So that's all I got. Because Miss Gibson, she said it all again for me about all graduation. I'm glad I'm in the middle.
Okay,
It
ditto.
don't matter where you step. I'm in the
Well,
middle.
thank you, Mr. Carroll. Ms. Thompson?
I would like to say congratulations to all of our graduates. And I would also like to say thank you to all of our employees and those that are off for this summer. I hope you have a wonderful summer. And then those that are still working, we appreciate you. I do have something I would like to say though, and I don't think this is going to be a surprise because I've spoken to Ms. Joseph about it. I've talked to her a couple times. I have been getting a lot of phone calls since last week about changes with principals and the upcoming school year. And so I just want to let you all know that we hear you, and Ms. Joseph and I have had some discussions, and if anybody has any more questions, I would be happy to speak with you, and I'm sure Ms. Joseph would as well.
Thank you. Ms. Knight?
I too would like to just say congratulations to all of our graduates. We're very proud of each and every one of you, whether it was pre-K, 6th grade, 8th grade, and of course, class of 2023. I also want to say thank you to our administrators and all of the staff that took time and effort to put the programs together this year. They were all phenomenal, and it was just so great to see parent involvement in these programs and see everybody get out and support our kids. And I just want to say have a great summer, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you, Ms. Knight. Do we have a motion to close the meeting? We have a motion by Ms. Thompson, second.
I second.
All in favor?
We got an expulsion.